Gear, it is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is 5 o'clock, I believe, where you're at in Mountain Standard Time, Colorado. We we said, hey, you know what? Let's kick off a webinar at 7 p.m. And I think that's what we're heading into. A lot of attendees are still joining right now. We'll get started here in just a second with introductions and a little bit about Onform and what to expect. I'm watching our attendees list right now, and it's kind of exploding. So let's just give it maybe a few more seconds. Is that okay with you?
Let's do it, and then we'll dive in.
We'll dive right in. Absolutely. I love it. I'm watching the attendees climb and all kinds of names that I recognize from current customers, a few that I don't know if I recognize quite yet. So maybe we got a couple of new potential customers in there, which is really cool to see. And I'm excited to jump into this. Here, real quick, can you see my screen? It says Onform 101, the basics. Hopefully that's being seen by everybody.
Yeah, I think so. We're looking good on the
Awesome.
screenshot there.
Awesome. Well, let's get this thing going. You wanna?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, everybody. My name is Nate Hairgrove. I am the Director of Business Development here at Onform, and really excited to kind of kick off this webinar series that we're starting. We figured why not start with the basics. Let's just start with the ground level. And our first guest is not really a guest. He kind of is the co-founder of Onform. We thought, who knows the basics better, right? So we got Gear Fisher with us tonight. He's going to help walk us through just the blocking and tackling of starting Onform. Help me record, help me analyze, help me share the simple things. So I'm really excited to kick this thing off and get rolling. Couple of things for our attendees. You'll see on the bottom of your webinar that there's a Q&A section, and that's where we'll be able to answer questions either live if we can answer them super quick, or we'll be able to at the end have a better Q&A time too. So please, anything comes up, or if you just want to know more, hit us in that section right there. We are recording this, so we will send this out afterwards to you. We'll have an email list go out. We're also posting this to our social channels, putting this on our YouTube. We'll have different links to this, so we'll be able to view that as well. Questions, I think I got those checked off, letting everybody know about our emails and things following up. So let's start super quick with this. Onform. A lot of our attendees, Gear, like I said, are Onform customers, and it's really cool to see that, but there's a couple of names I didn't quite recognize. So Onform is a video analysis tool. We are an app helping coaches. We're enhancing coaches' lives, giving them the ability to record a video, quickly analyze it, share it. It's all done through the cloud, HD quality video, done quick, seamless, and directly to where it needs to get going to. So the really cool thing about Onform is that we've got over 150, I believe, I just counted these the other day, over 150 different sports or activities. We have everything from golf and baseball to fly fishing to physics teachers to physiotherapy, you name it, Onform can record it. So that's really cool. We're across the country. We got tens of thousands of coaches using our app. Just as a quick disclaimer, in today's webinar, we will be using a lot of our golf videos because it's our highest population of coaches that use the app. And one of the really neat things about that is that we can kind of really fine tune and analyze within the swing, but hopefully you'll get a flavoring of how you can use it in your particular sports as well. So without further ado, Gear, I would love to kick this thing over to you. I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you'll be able to jump in and share your screen. The goal of this is just to kind of help us understand, like, get me started. Where do I get started within the app?
Well, Nate, thanks for turning over. I'm glad you asked. That's what everybody's here for. By the end of this webinar today, I hope everybody will have a decent understanding of the core functionality that we provide through the app. And what you're looking at right here is I'm sharing my iPad live. This is my screen with videos that I've gathered, over the months and years. Now, my iPad here is going to look a little different than yours. If you're new to Onform, you're going to see kind of a lot of blank space, a lot of white space. So over time, as you're recording videos, you'll see this all fill up and it will start to look a little bit more like my screen does here. We're only going to cover the basics today. I will be doing another webinar in the future, more advanced topics. So you're welcome to ask any question you want about any feature or functionality that I'm talking about tonight or that I don't cover, but just know that we will be following up with many more advanced webinars that feature key tools within the app. So let's go for a quick little tour here. You're looking at the app on the iPad. I want to clarify that for coaches, we are an Apple first company. So if you're a coach, you're going to need an Apple device, an iPad, an iPhone. You could have an M1 or an Apple Silicon Mac computer and run the full iPad app on your Mac computer also. And we have a web app, which is kind of a lightweight version of what you're seeing here, but it's accessible from any web browser. We support Chrome and Safari on any modern platform. So your athletes and students and players, they typically would have the app on their phone, on their device, Android, Apple, web, and your communication with them is app to app. Now, the layout of the program is basically gives you a people first design. That is, you'll see down the left screen under all individuals, these are all the various students that I've added over time. We're currently looking at my all files library, which just shows a collection of videos from every student, every athlete I have in the system. But it's very easy to add a student or add an athlete. And that's the first thing we're going to do here. So I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to add a new individual for one-on-one coaching, and you can choose your sport and role for that particular athlete. But let's just use golf, and I'm going to put in Amy Jones. Now, a key concept here, and this is a really key concept, we have to now add Amy into the system, and we can either invite her right away, or we can wait and invite her at a later time, such that eventually she's going to need to get the app, accept my invite, and then I'm free to share and communicate through the tool when she actually joins. So normally when I send an invite, I would hit send invite. It creates a code on the server and hands it over to any of your messaging apps. I would go to email, for example, and fill in Amy's email. It sends her an email with this message, and she'll tap this link here and connect with me in the app. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that just because Amy doesn't really exist. I'm sure there's an Amy Jones out there, but she's just a demo for tonight. And if I dismiss this, the next thing you're going to see is the ability to customize the imagery that your client will see in the app. I'm just going to use our default little Onform logo and say done. And so here we are at a most basic workspace. And again, because the organization of Onform is by person, we make it super easy to keep all your videos organized. So I add in my athlete, and now I'm given these four main features: chat, which is literally just like a private direct messaging or chat system. The library for recording, this is where all your videos will live. There's a notes section, which is super handy. You can take little easy contextual text notes while you're in a lesson or at practice, just to remind yourself maybe of what you were talking about or talking that you'd like to talk about in the future. And we also link to a lesson booking system. We don't do the lesson booking, but we allow you in your profile to add a URL that goes to any lesson booking website you'd like. Here I've loaded my Calendly, my personal Calendly website. And so you can see your students will be able to book their next lesson with you directly through the app, because we simply load up the web page and now they can book another lesson with you. But let's go back to the core functionality. Now that I've added a student, you'll notice it says pending join because I've sent out that invite email. While I'm waiting for her to connect, maybe it's tonight or tomorrow, I can go ahead and start recording videos of her. If I'm in person with Amy, I'd simply hit the record button here in the library, and I'm going to record an exciting video of my office just to make a point. That video gets captured, it lands in the library on today, and you'll see it automatically gets backed up to the cloud. That's another great feature of the app, is every video that you take will automatically get backed up to the cloud for safekeeping. That also means any device you log in on, you'll be able to access all your same athletes and videos. So you can log in on up to 4 devices at once: an iPad, an iPhone, a Mac, a website, etc. and all your data is all stored securely in our cloud. Now, I have just recorded a video in Amy's library, but this is my private video of her. In the case where I would want to share that to Amy, I simply long press the video, tap share. I would select her name. I could show and share this with anybody in my Onform universe, but I just wanted to go to her, and I could even type a message if I wanted to, something like, good job. And I'll dismiss this little pop-up there and hit share. And what that does is puts this video in the chat. Okay, now that's the key core couple of features. We can record video and share that video to Amy through the chat. And the chat is just like any private DM that you've used. It looks like texting, but it's private. It keeps the videos in full HD quality, and she'll get a notification and be able to watch this video just like normal, and then be able to share videos back to you. So in the library, when you're in private mode, all these videos that you record are private until you choose to share them.
Gear, I hate to interrupt you, but I had a question come in asking, what do you mean by long press? Can you explain that super quick? That seems to be
good one. So it's kind of a newer interaction. You'll see this a lot more with Apple products, but a long press, I'm literally holding my finger on the image for like a half a second, and it gives me this menu here. It's kind of like the tablet version or the iPhone version of a right click. It just gives you access to a menu. Same with Amy's name over here, for example. I can long press on her name, and I also get some other features in the menu here, like being able to re-invite her at a later time, etc. That's the long press. Let's jump over to a real person here. Now, I'm just going to go back to our home screen here on the left. You'll see that all of my other students are organized alphabetically. So I'm going to click on Arnold Palmer here. You may recognize the newer version of Arnold Palmer on our webinar here. But here we have a workspace where I've recorded several videos, and you can see that they're all filled out. Now you'll notice some other things like titles and tags. We'll talk about that in a later webinar, but suffice to say, we can get quite fancy on the ability to search and find videos, and which is part of the value proposition of Onform. If you're recording on your Apple phone, you record a video, it goes to your camera roll to die because you can never find that video a few days later. We give you the ability to really make video work for you instead of you having to work so hard to use video. So here we have a bunch of videos. Let's talk about the analysis tools. I'm going to go ahead and click on a video, single click, just tap on it. And let's just talk about the video player interface here. You'll notice, number one, I can use my finger and drag on that yellow line just to scrub back and forth in the video. Now this video was recorded in portrait mode, probably on an iPhone. So if I were to rotate my iPad, you'll get a full screen version of it if you'd like, but I happen to have it in landscape for this purpose of this demo. I can also put my finger on the little slider scrubber here and go frame by frame as needed. The drawing tools that we provide are up here in the corner, and we give you 5 shortcuts. So you can simply, in this case, I'm already selected on the rectangle, and I could come down here and draw a rectangle around his body, for example. If I tap the icon again, it gives me access to all the other tools and changing colors, things like angles, line angles, arrows, etc. So you can easily swap back and forth between these different tools and provide whatever feedback you like here through the video. Now, a couple other things here. We can also turn on our little gingerbread man, which gives us access to our skeleton tracking, which is a neat way to visualize some information. But we're going to talk about that more in another one. I just kind of wanted to bring it to your attention. Now, before we get too far in the analysis, let's jump back and talk about the actual recording of the videos. Now, in Onform, recording a video is always done in a library. That means you either go to a student, tap on their library, and then tap on the record button, or you go here in the home screen and tap on library all files, and you can just record straight away without even adding a student. But I recommend adding your student first. That way your videos are always contained and you always know where to go find them. If we open up the camera, talking about the recording tools now, This is a live view, and you can see here, there's a number of buttons and features, and I just want to take you through them real quick. Number one, there's simply a start and stop button. Just like your Apple camera, you hit start, hit stop, and you're going to record a video like normal. But we give you a number of other features that are quite advanced to make it easier to use. I want to draw your attention down here. We have several different modes of the recording capability. I'm going to only talk about the actual start and stop version of manual. Up above here, we have the ability to, sorry, I should control my finger a little bit. Up above here, we have the ability to change the resolution and the frames per second. So we allow you to go as all the way up to 1080p by 240 FPS if your device supports it. If you have a wide angle camera, we'll support the wide angle lens. You can choose whichever you want, balancing between the higher FPS, the longer it takes to upload and download, but you will get a more finer resolution of the image. I'll talk more in another recording, but maybe my favorite feature, I would recommend 720 at 60 FPS as a standard recording for most people. And just above that is our shutter speed option. I'm just going to mention it that you can use this and play around by moving the shutter speed faster towards the rabbit to get even more clear stop motion video. But again, I'll cover that in another session someday. But the nuts and bolts are, you can choose the features you want, select the resolution. I'm going to hit the start button, record another exciting video of the office. And that video is now available right below the start button for me to tap and open immediately if I would like to analyze it. Okay, so just in summary here, I want to cover off that we have added a student, Amy Jones. We have sent her an invite and we're waiting for her to actually connect. Meanwhile, we've gone over to this other athlete, Arnold Palmer, and we've not only recorded some brand new videos, but we also have a history of videos as well. Let's get a little bit more deeper into the analysis side and open up a video here. Now, you'll notice in golf, we actually work with a full swing launch monitor, so you can see all the ball flight data and everything, which is really cool. But again, kind of an advanced feature, something that if you're not a golf instructor, it won't matter. But we give you all the same tools for recording. Now, another really fun thing to do that is very common is to do a comparison. So here in the video tool, I can press compare, then I tap add, and I can select any other video that I have in my entire Onform universe. Notice that we give you a reference content folder where you can come up and select videos that you might have recorded off of Instagram, like this one of Nelly Corda, for example. I can also upload my own videos from my camera roll, but now I have a side-by-side view of Nelly Corda in this case and my student over on the right side. Now these are two different views, so you can even do things like tap edit. I'm going to press change and I'm going to choose a face-on view of my athlete here. So now I have two face-on views where I might want to compare the impact position of these two videos between Nelly Corda and my student. Now notice how I can move the video around and change the size of it. I'm actually using two fingers on the screen to pinch and zoom that and position it right where I want to. When I tap the screen, it makes the Chrome, the interface tools disappear, so it makes it a little easier to see. And if I tap it again, I get access back on all of the scrubber and frame by frame tools as well. And again, I can draw lines as needed, just like I would want to on both sides. Now I can also link these two videos. Notice they're both almost at impact. So I'm going to come up here to this link button, and this puts both of these videos on the same timeline. So they both impact the ball at the same time. Very powerful. And lastly, another really great thing is that we can overlap videos with this button here. So I can now overlap Nelly Corda on my student, and I can use this little drag here to change the opacity, and I can change her size. And now I'm going to slide it so he's a little bit more in frame. I'm going to make him just as tall as she is, and now I can see the two of them over the top of each other. Okay, these are some of the great analysis tools that we provide that make it super fast and easy to take a really close look at video. Now we want to bring this together in what we'd call recording a voiceover. Now the whole point of Onform is to give coaches the ability to communicate their feedback to athletes all using video. And that's mostly done by using the voiceover tool. So check it out. We're going to go into the voiceover here. I'm going to tap this icon. Every once in a while, it'll come up with this security check that says record screen and microphone. Now with the video playing and that red bar at the top, I can draw lines and do whatever I need to do on the interface. I can do the overlap. I can change that. I can scrub all the way through, whatever I'd like to do, and point out the feedback. I can even turn on our coach cam so you can see me talking and I can be explaining to my student exactly what I'm trying to get through to them based on wrist angle or maybe something else I'm trying to convey, or just make it more personal. I'll turn that off. And now I'm done. I want to hit stop. And we immediately have that video available for review. I'm going to tap save and I could enter a title, compare with Nelly, and tap save. Now it assumes you want to share that with your student, Arnold Palmer, so it brings up the sharing screen. I tap on Arnold's name. I'm going to hit next and just give him a quick message. Note your impact point. Good job. And then I hit share. That puts the video that I just recorded, which is here in the library. It's currently uploading into the cloud. It puts that video in the chat, and as soon as it finishes uploading to the cloud, it's going to send a notification to Arnold. They'll get that, open it up, and be able to play that video just like any other video that you've recorded. Only now you've got all of your coaching feedback brought into the video and shared. All right, so now we have added a student, we have recorded some videos, we've provided a voiceover analysis and shared that back to our student. The last thing I kind of want to point out is mainly when we do share video, we do it app to app, just like any other Facebook message or Instagram private DM, etc. You have the app, your student has the app, and you share videos back and forth. We don't necessarily lock you into that because at any time, I can go to the library and take any video and long press it, tap share, and normally this is the app to app sharing screen, but if I tap the more icon here, I can also just share it directly via email. I could copy the link and paste it into a WhatsApp, or I can share to other apps, save it to my camera roll, upload it into Instagram, whatever I want to do. So we don't necessarily lock you into using only our app. You might have an older client that just doesn't even like apps or do phones, and you could easily just share that to them via email. It loads up email, it preloads in your comments with a link, and you could just email a link directly to your athlete or student. Okay, final thing is we've been mostly working just with an individual one-on-one client. You'll note that we also have a Teams section, and if I open up Teams, you can also build teams within Onform. For example, the Bear Creek baseball team happens to be my high school from a long time ago. But you'll notice it looks very similar, but instead of an individual's name, it's got the team name. And if I scroll down here, here's all the members of the team. Caleb Smith, a first baseman, et cetera, et cetera. And this is, when I click on any one of these, it brings up the private chat. But in a team scenario, you simply record video in the library and then share it with anybody in the team using the same technique. Long press, I tap share, and now I can choose either groups that I've created within the team or sharing it to individuals the same way, or even multiple individuals at the same time. I hit next and do the same thing. And now you'll notice, since I shared that with Caleb, when I go to Caleb's account, you'll see that video lands in the chat and I'm having a private communication with Caleb. Now, if you use a team, the key is you should only use a team when people are practicing together. A team is meant for a true team. Each of the members of the team would know each other, Because when you use a team, the roster is going to be seen by everybody else on the team. So it'd be a little weird if you were using a team with people that didn't know each other and they would see and be able to communicate with each other through the app. Certainly doable, certainly something you can do, but our best practice is to say, use a team when people are practicing together and they know each other. Otherwise, it's most likely you'll want to set each person up as an individual and use the individual workspace instead. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. It's 26 minutes in, hopefully somewhat on time. Nate, I want to go back to you if you have any questions at this point.
Yeah, we are doing great. We've got several questions we actually need to cover off on. One of the questions is a good one. It says, are videos going to their chat first or their own private library if many sent at once? So when you record a video, are they automatically in the library or are they going to the chat first? I think that's a great question.
Okay, so you can record, let's be clear, you can either record in the library, and when I have the library set to default private, only you that are doing the recording will see them. However, I can also record a video directly in the chat. And when I do this, if I hit the little camera icon and record, again, we'll take an exciting video of my office here. That video is immediately shared in the chat. So this one would be shared right to Arnold Palmer without pushing any buttons whatsoever. So if you want to keep your videos private and then decide which videos you want to share, I would say record them in the library, then choose which ones you want to share. Or you can record in the chat and every video you take will be available through the chat. Lastly, just to give you one last option, this setting up here, the library's default private, that switches the library from a private view for each person. So I have a private view, Arnold Palmer would have a private view, and then we each selectively choose what we're going to share to each other. But if I, the owner of this workspace, flip this to default shared, it will make this function much like a Google Drive. Anybody that is a member of this workspace will have access to these videos immediately upon recording. Now, it won't put all these videos in the chat. It simply shares them via the library so that if any video is recorded by myself or by Arnold Palmer in this case, it will just be available here. I would still then have to share it if I wanted to have a conversation about it so that it showed up in the chat. But some people, some coaches, some scenarios, different workflows, they just want every video available between them, and you can accomplish that through either the default shared setting, the default, or flip to default private, or recording directly in the chat. I hope that answers the question.
I think it did. We've got several more to fire through, so let's see if we can't hit them, okay? How would the teams option differ from a corporate tournament? So I think what they're trying to answer is if you've got some sort of corporate event or something you're trying to do, you kind of answered it, but maybe you could reiterate. A team would be everyone's wearing kind of the same uniform. We're all on the same roster versus maybe just a group of people. I know that would be a collection, and maybe we tease that with our next one, but maybe you could give us a short answer on that one.
Well, if I understand right, I think the key with teams is that if you're okay with each person in the team seeing other people, now they won't see videos unless you explicitly share them, but seeing the roster of people, it was designed such that a true team could message each other and say, hey, Bob, could I get a ride to practice tonight? Or I didn't understand what coach meant when he told us to do over-unders. And the collaboration amongst a team can happen. If you're okay with them seeing each other, then using a team is sometimes easier and faster versus using individuals. We do have another option, which is a little bit more advanced, and it's called a collection. And you can put individual people underneath a collection just for grins, or I'll tease this. I happen to have a group here called Stanford Players. And you'll see now that I brought Stanford Players up here, these are still individuals, but I've grouped them under Stanford Players. This is another option I'll cover in another webinar. But using collections, these are called collections, allows you to group individual people together And then it also allows you to bulk message them using our broadcast tool. So you could send a video to everybody in that team privately, but do it in one shot versus like in a team when you have a group, it's more like a group text. Everybody sees every reply that anybody puts in there. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I think that did a fantastic job. Here's another good one, actually. Can you explain how to import a video from maybe Dropbox or from a file of some sort so we can run through an import super quick?
Sure, as long as you guys don't mind seeing my camera roll of dog pictures.
Or you can just go to files and just show the files as well, Gear.
Sure. So it's very easy. So you'll see at the top of any library, there is an import option. If I tap import, I can choose to import from another Onform library. Maybe I want to pull 3 or 4 videos from a different student into this particular person, or I can tap on camera roll, or I can tap on files. Depends on how you have it all set up. So you can access then your Dropbox over here. If you've got Dropbox already connected, I would have to sign in. I haven't done it in a while. But this is also where you can access Google Drive or OneDrive, Microsoft, whatever you need to have. So the short answer is hit import. You know, normally you'll probably be importing from a camera roll. There you go. There's all my relatives and we had a big weekend. I could pick any video, any image. Here's a good one of my 2 dogs sleeping on our couch. And say add, and next thing you know, you've now got the image pulled into your library.
Excellent. I think that answered that one. How about oh, here's a good one. Is there a way to take a screenshot and share feedback with a student?
That's a great question. So you can certainly import images, but you can't do a voiceover of a image. This happens to be a blank image. And actually, it is a voiceover. It's a 1 second video. I just kind of confused you there all, but suffice to say, if I take a screenshot, let's just open up this one. There might not be a reason to take a screenshot because when you do a voiceover, I can go to any frame in the video and make a comment about like his position here. So I can hit record and, you know, maybe I want to talk about his hand position, you know, whatever. And there may not be an actual need. And, you know, maybe I want to talk about his hand position. But now I could share this. I'll skip that. If you do have an image, let's say of some key thing that you want to bring in as a comparison, in order to do a voiceover of it, you'll need to do a quick 2-second screen recording of an image. Then you can use it in the voiceover tool to compare and provide feedback with. So you can certainly screenshot it. By the way, you know, I'm going to hit the 2 buttons on my iPad here, and it'll take a screenshot even of my iPad. I could then turn around and share that directly into Onform by hitting the share button and selecting Onform. Boom, and here we go. You'll see that shows up. There's the screenshot of the thing I just took right in my library. And then if I really want to, I could share that to my athlete and, you know, tell him something. So hopefully that gives you some tips on that.
That was perfect. Here's another one. Here's a good question for us. How can I start and stop my camera remotely? Oh, start and stop my camera remotely. It's a great one.
So a couple ways. Number one, we work with Bluetooth triggers. So you can buy like a $10, $20 Bluetooth trigger button from Amazon, like a Joby. If you just Google or go to Amazon, look for a Bluetooth shutter button. You can use a Bluetooth shutter button to start and stop the camera. You can also use audio. If I say start recording, stop recording. You can also do it that way. So there's a couple of remote ways. You can also use your Apple Watch. We have an Apple Watch app that acts as a remote trigger. So that's a really nice way to do it as well, because you'll get a little preview video of what you recorded on your Apple Watch. So between those 3, super helpful. And then if you're a golfer or a baseball player, we do have a auto detect mode, which will automatically capture any swing of the golfer hands-free. So it might solve your need as well.
Or you're giving too many teasers for that advanced lesson we're coming up with, Gear. I love it though. I think it's great. I mean, you have touched the tip of the iceberg for Onform Basics. It's phenomenal to see how much we can get into this. You and I could talk about this for the next 3.5 hours and still not get everything that we would want to share with everyone. Here's another good question. And it's an easy answer for you. I don't think it needs much demoing here, but can you narrate? Can you do a voiceover or narration working with an Android device? Maybe kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier with the coach.
So our Android app is currently intended for athletes, meaning your student, your athlete can have any device, but our Android app is kind of a light version. So the answer is no, you can't. However, we are working madly on bringing that functionality to Android, along with a lot of huge improvements in the video player, scrubbing, side-by-side, annotations. It is absolutely something that's coming, but in today's Android app, there's a very rudimentary version of it, but short answer is no, you'll need an Apple device to do that.
Awesome. I am wrapping up, I think, most of these questions. Deborah asked one good question, and I think this would be maybe our last one about the calendar.
Yeah.
Can you show us really quick? I think that's a good one. It's a basic need that a lot of coaches are always curious. Man, I don't see the calendar app. So maybe you can show us super quick where the calendar is.
You bet. Here on the home screen there's your profile icon right here. I'm going to tap that, and then I'm going to tap Edit Profile. And one of the options is put in your lesson booking website. It's just a URL. So you could use Calendly, USchedule, MindBody Online, whatever you want. You put in the URL there, and then that will make that book lesson link appear in all of your athletes' workspaces. If you don't put anything in there, that button won't even show up. So our philosophy was, there's so many scheduling apps out there. We're not really interested in writing that all functionality, but we'll easily link into whatever scheduling tool you would like to use. And we'll make it so easy to present it in front of your students right from the app that they won't have to remember where to go or how to get anywhere else. You just need to put in this lesson booking website and you're set.
That's awesome. I can't believe we did this, but we got through all the questions, either live with the demo that you did, or I've been working on my typing skills, which there's probably a lot of typos, but I've been able to answer a lot of those other questions as well. Is there anything else that you're wanting to share or anything like that in the meantime? I think I've got all questions answered. We're wrapping up this session right here. Hopefully you can see our little thank you and QR code if you have any other questions. I did try to put on there, if you want some more specifics, if you want a little help, our support team is here to help you. So please email us at support@onform.com. We'd be more than happy to jump on a Zoom demo with you and walk you through how to set up Teams or how to fix the calendar link. Or there was a question about the skeleton feature, maybe making sure that gets worked out properly. One more question just popped in too with full swing launch monitors, and we are certainly interested in having those conversations with golf specific coaches, because we do work with a couple of launch monitors, but it's certainly something that we'd love to talk with you more about. So Gear, I don't know about you, but I think this has been a fantastic 39 minutes of the basics, the 101. I feel like we've been able to answer a lot of good questions. I think we've provided a lot of fantastic material and even a few teasers you threw out there. You threw some teasers for our next one, and look forward to more of these coming. We're excited to kick these off. We're going to bring on more Onform partners, more coaches to help us, and panelists to maybe give us some real world experience on what they're facing. Gear said he's got a lot more, especially on the advanced side. We'll do some more of those. We've got a lot of cool things in the works coming up in the next several weeks. We're going to try and put a couple of these out. So reach out, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear the feedback if you loved it. If there's more that you'd like to learn, again, you can reach out at support@onform.com. Download the app. Have any questions, please reach out. But thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for your time too as well, Gear.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.